Welcome to this very intensive lesson. I have so much information about scales, so many tips and useful tricks to share with you that I think that I will break this video into two parts. That's why make sure to subscribe, to hit the bell, so you don't miss video number 2. So, what is important to know about scales? First of all, if you are a beginner or intermediate pianist and want to implement playing scales in your daily practicing routine, I don't really advise you to start with a C major scale. This sounds probably shocking for some of you because we traditionally know that when you start playing piano, you start from pieces written in C major, you start from a C major scale and stuff because there are only white keys. But physiologically speaking, C major is actually not a comfortable key. And this is a controversy of piano teaching, which I was already covering in a video dedicated to fundamentals of piano playing, released recently on my channel. That's why I would actually suggest you to start from, let's say, E major or even better, B major. Like these scales like E major and especially B major, they are perfect for our hand because we can place we can place our shorter fingers on the white keys and longer fingers on the shorter keys, on the black keys. Yeah, and it feels amazing. And also we can learn natural curve. We can implement a good habit of playing with a natural curve as opposed to intended curve when you like really curl your fingers. And this is not the optimal way to play piano because when you play like that, you have tension. And when you play C major scale, because of these black keys that stay in the way, most of people learn an intended curve, and so they learn to always play with tension. Of course, there are some tips how we can overcome this difficulty connected with C major. If, for example, we would coordinate motions in a certain way, going in the keyboard like a push-in motion for shorter fingers like 1 and 5, like you push your forearm, like going in the keyboard for the shorter fingers, and then you pull for longer fingers, push, pull. Like that. If you coordinate motions like that, then you can play even C major with a natural curve, not curling your fingers too much. Like this. You might notice that my fingers were not really curled as opposed to this way of playing, yeah? But I was also moving a little bit along the key, which is, of course, makes your playing much more comfortable and less likely would cause any overuse issues, fatigue and stuff. But this is kind of a special skill. It needs time to properly coordinate such motions, like in, out and stuff. And I cover them in detail in my courses dedicated to piano efficiency, which you might find in the description. So if you are serious about piano playing, you might want to check out those courses. Then step number 1 when we learn scales is, of course, being able to evenly support each finger. So let's start from, let's say, B major. I know there are some black keys, of course, which might scare some of you, but after all, black keys also matter, right? So what happens when we start working on a scale? We play it in a moderate tempo, concentrating on a few things. First of all, that we would feel support in each finger. So you dive right to the bottom of the key, and you feel a loose sensation in your arms, shoulders, elbows, wrists also are flexible. Well, wrists are partially supported, let's say. You don't let your wrists fall down lower than the keys, never. But nevertheless, they are able to bounce a little bit, and we need that bouncing at first when we master an ability to play with the weight of the hand. So you might start from the higher position of the forearm, like that, raising your forearm a little bit. The hand is relaxed. Fingers touch the keys, but they are kind of hanging down, like that, yes? And then you fall down, supporting yourself in the wrist and in the joints of the finger. Then you release the finger, raising your forearm again. You see? And this is actually an important skill to master. While staying in the key, move around your hand, releasing all the other parts of the hand. Yeah, so we apply some weight, rebounds. Dive on the next key, right to the bottom, supporting yourself in the knuckle, in the nail joint, partially in the wrist. cushioning back, like that. So this is step number 1, to feel the weight of the hand, applying it evenly to each finger. And while you do so, you also concentrate on an immediate release of all the fingers that don't work or which are done. Yeah. So as soon as you proceed to the second finger, you release your thumb completely. Yeah. All the other fingers just calmly lay on the surface of the keys, not being tense. And that's an important habit to develop consciously, because most of people still have some tension, for example, in the fifth finger. Yeah, and that's not good, because that's a limiting habit, which is possible to get rid of, but only if you would practice a lot, like consciously concentrating on the support in the finger that is currently in contact with the key, and all the other fingers are relaxed. Of course, there is another approach to that one, when you would use a so-called double and single rotation technique explained by Taubman. I also covered that. This is technique where you do a preparatory motion before hitting the key. Yeah, rotating the hand, left, right, left, right, left, right, or just single rotation when you switch position, for example, double rotation, single rotation here. Of course, but that's another topic which I'm not going to go deeply in this video, because it needs like a special lesson. And I have such a lesson in the course dedicated to hand exercises, or you can simply search for double single rotations in Taubman method or any other articles on the web. This is a quite well-known topic, of course. But both these approaches with like rebouncing or double rotations, they have a similar outcome when you coordinate motions properly and when you minimize them. Both of them, at the end of the day, feel like a micro shaking in the forearm. So it's like shaking off the notes out of your forearm by concentrating tips of the fingers only. But in order to get there, you have to start from a slower tempo. And to reach a level where you can coordinate motions and to play confidently that in a medium tempo, and then gradually speed up, minimizing those motions. Especially by using weaker fingers, like for example, fingers 3, 4, 5. When we end playing a scale, when we reach the end of the scale, fingers 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, you go in the keyboard, moving your forearm forward. I always repeat that motion has nothing to do with lifting the wrist up. So this is not correct. You just move forward, increasing the angle between the finger and the hand palm. So this knuckle gets more stability, which is of course great for finger number 4, which is naturally very weak. Or for example, when we approach a fourth finger on a black key, like in G major, you see. Here we go in the keyboard for that finger. Another very important thing about any kind of scales and passages that contain scales is if you need to raise a finger, like for example, if you decide, I really want to raise my finger high, I don't know why would you need that, but if you like really want that, for example, by using gravity, you never raise just the isolated finger, just an isolated finger, you raise the whole hand palm, you see? So there is a great difference in energy spending when you raise the forearm by rotating it around the axis point, around your thumb, for example, or you raise 3, 4, 5 together if you are playing second finger right now, yeah? There is a great difference between that and that. Yeah, so this movement by isolated finger costs much more energy than raising the whole hand palm, yeah? That's why when we learn rotation in scales, we also raise the whole hand palm by rotating the forearm, but never just isolated fingers. Sometimes I have people with injuries, and for example, there are some people who, due to overuse issues, due to some painful experiences connected with bad practicing habits, can't raise the fourth finger at all. Like for example, usually people can't raise the fourth finger much. That's natural, but some people can't raise it at all. And in this case, for example, playing a G major scale, when you have to play fourth finger on the black key might be quite problematic for them unless they coordinate motions in a certain way. So what helps in this situation is preparing that position all the way from the thumb. So as soon as you reach C, you already prepare the whole position, moving a little bit further along the keys, and you cover the whole position here. Because if you end up being really out of the keyboard here, and then you have to step on the black key, that might be less comfortable than already preparing it in advance. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Please write in comments your difficulties and what kind of topics you would like to be covered on this channel, and check out my comprehensive courses following the links in the description. See you in the video number 2, dedicated to scales, efficiency, and learning strategies. Have fun playing piano, and see you next time.